Only you can know when a pivot or an adjustment is something that's coming from a place of power and confidence versus a place of lack or scarcity or like discouragement. I see people that are really concerned about AI and the things that it's doing and the way that it's changing. And if you feel called to change your work towards AI or whatever it is, I think you can pursue that. But if you're only doing it because you feel scared or discouraged, I don't make good decisions from that place.
And no one does. And I think
Right.
that's so important to know, like, there's the baseline, right? Like, we can think about the fact
Mhm.
that we've got to put food on the table, we have to sustain. Beyond that point, this is what
Mhm.
we're talking about right here.
Mhm.
Right? It is, do my decisions come from a place of alignment,
Mhm.
soul, with my spirit, with
Mhm.
source? And I think that that's such an important question to ask yourself.
Mhm.
It's not about money. It's not about, what's happening and how do I stay relevant? What is everyone else doing? I
Right.
think focusing on those things, like, it's great to watch the news and be understanding of what's happening in the environment.
Sure.
You've got to know what's right for you, because that is the trajectory that's going to
Mhm.
give you that snowballing type of growth that you've
Mhm.
experienced. But now I want to
Mhm.
circle back and talk about charging your worth, because this is something that
Yes.
entrepreneurs struggle with. I struggled with it,
Mhm.
and you just don't know a lot of the times. And I think that there's something special about, starting in with that low hanging fruit so that you can get the
Mhm.
confidence to move forward. But
Mhm.
what was your mindset? What was your thinking when you knew to charge more to make this worth my time? What was that process like for you?
Yeah, it started out very logical, right? Because I did those like 4 or 5 website glow ups and I was thrilled. I was putting my heart and soul into them. I did excellent work. And I sat down with my husband and I calculated the time that it took me to complete a website based on the rate that they were paying me. And when I looked at my hourly rate, it was about $5 an hour. And that was a really hard place to get to. Like I remember just sobbing over it because I was like, here I am. I thought I was making money. I thought I was doing good work. And like it doesn't add up. Right. And so from a logical standpoint, I had to raise my prices. I was like, it has to be worth it for me. It has to pay more than I could make working at a restaurant. It has to be enough so that I can pay for childcare, kind of these logical things. So I started there, right? And I call this like my mad scientist mode, where I'm just like, let's just look at the numbers. Let's just put it on paper, pros, cons, make the list, outline the time, all of that stuff. And I came up with a number. I can't remember what it was, but I came up with a number that was, basically what would be fair, quote unquote, for the time that it takes and what I'm providing. And it was so interesting because I charged a couple at that price. It was probably somewhere around 500 to 1,000. And it stopped feeling good. Where when I first signed those $250 clients, that $1,000 client, I was so excited about it. And that exchange felt so good to me. And at some point, I remember somebody paid me, it was probably around $1,000. And I felt like, ugh, I don't want to do this project, even though they're paying me $1,000. And I hope that doesn't sound snotty because it wasn't coming from a place of like, I'm better than this. It was coming from a true inner sense of my time is really valuable. And this price and this project is no longer aligned with the way that I view my time and my skills. And so it was that feeling of like, I'm not excited about this anymore, where I started asking myself, okay, what would somebody have to pay for me to be excited about it? And I've had, I don't want to say the luxury, but the opportunity, I guess, in my business where a lot of times I'm booked out.
Mhm.
So I'm at capacity. And to me, that tells me that I can raise my price because I'm maxed at what I have. But I don't think that you have to be at capacity in order to justify raising your prices. Sometimes it just feels right. And you can say, you know what? I haven't signed a client at $2,500, but it's just not the right price. And I'm going to raise it anyway in the faith that when it is the right price, the right client will come. And I can't tell you how many times that's happened to me where I would be charging $2,500. I remember for a long time, my package was about $3,500 for branding and website. And it started to feel not good, and I've added a lot to my packages. I've learned so much. I was really specific on who I was serving. And so but I wasn't maybe signing a client at that rate. And so it's a leap of faith, right? To raise your prices and say, okay, this package is now $5,000. And as soon as I would do that, as soon as I would like make the decision, somebody would inquire.
Mhm.
And I think sometimes we are tested a little bit like, okay, are you really serious about this? And as soon as you make that decision, I call them powerful decisions where you're like, I've got my own back, I'm willing to fail. I'm going to do this.